Growing up, my family valued appearances and achievements highly. My dad, Benjamin, 57, male, holds a prestigious job at an insurance company and is well respected in his field. My mom, Olivia, 56, female, is a biology professor and the ideal, caring mother, always there for us. However, everything in our family came with conditions. We had to look and behave perfectly, and perfect was defined by how well we met my parents' expectations. My older sister, Isabella, 30, female, or as everyone called her, Bella, was the definition of their ideal. She's an engineer. She is 4 years older than me, and she was incredibly successful and seemed to deal with life easily, always getting praised by everyone, receiving awards, and our parents admired her. On the other hand, I was quieter, more reserved, and a bit rebellious. I was smart but preferred to follow my own path. I had interests that did not always align with my parents' idea of success. Well, I was an English major, and they did not exactly like that, but they accepted our differences as long as I stayed within their limits, and I tried to avoid crossing any lines. Despite our differences, I admired Bella. She was everything our parents wanted, and I saw her as someone I could trust and learn from. I never thought she would do something like this to me. 6 years ago, my world turned upside down because of a huge lie from Bella. I was 20, still in college, trying to build my future. Bella, always our parents' favorite, was the golden child. She was accomplished, responsible, and always in their good books. Meanwhile, I felt like I could never measure up, always living in her shadow. Things changed dramatically with Bella a few months before she told that lie. She asked me to help her cover up something risky she was involved in. Basically, she had made some poor choices and wanted me to keep my mouth shut about it. She was mixed up with some shady people and situations that made me uncomfortable and did not really sit right with me. And she wanted me to lie to our parents about it and give her an alibi. She said it was a family duty, claiming I owed her because she had always supported me. However, something felt wrong, and I did not want to get caught up in her plans. I was trying to keep my own life stable, and lying for her seemed like a clear path to disaster. I told her I would not do it, that I did not want to take any risks. She became furious, acting like my refusal was a huge betrayal. Her reaction was intense and even scary. I remember her warning that I would regret crossing her, that she would find a way to make me pay. At the time, I thought it was just drama and assured she would calm down. Looking back, that moment seemed to set off everything that happened next. Within weeks, Bella started to subtly undermine me, and soon after, she dropped a huge lie on our parents. Then, she told our parents that I was selling drugs at college. This was a huge and terrible lie, and it shocked me. I had never even touched drugs, let alone sold them. But Bella said it so convincingly that my parents believed her without question. To this day, I cannot understand why she did it. We were not particularly close, but we were not enemies either. I mean, she is, or was, my sister. I could never even imagine that she would do something so messed up with me. This is a lie that could actually ruin my future, and in that moment, I genuinely thought it did. My dad, Benjamin, reacted like a storm. He did not ask me anything or let me explain. His anger hit me hard, deeper than I expected. I felt his disappointment and disgust as if I was no longer his daughter. My mom, Olivia, was quiet. But her silence hurt just as much. She looked at me with deep disappointment, as if I had ruined all her dreams for me. Meanwhile, Bella stood to the side, expressionless. She did not say a word or acknowledge the chaos she caused. She just watched as my parents kicked me out. That day, they threw me out of the house. I had no choice to explain or even understand what was happening. I left with nothing and had to drop out of college because I could not pay for it without their support. My future felt like it vanished overnight. In the following months, I stayed with friends, moving from couch to couch and doing whatever work I could find. I felt hopeless. I had big dreams and everything I was working towards was just gone. I tried to reach out to my parents, hoping they would see the truth. Every call ended in them turning me away. My dad would hang up before I could say anything. My mom would just repeat her dismissive words, refusing to listen or think they might have been wrong. I kept wishing they would see through Bella's lies and remember who I really was. But they had already decided. In their eyes, I was guilty. And that was the end of it. Time passed and years went by, and gradually I learned to rebuild my life from scratch. I saved every dollar from my waitressing job and eventually returned to school part-time. It was tough, but I was determined to show myself that I could shape my future even without their help. During this journey, I met people who became my chosen family, friends who recognized my true self and supported me when my own family had turned away. They helped me see my value, aided my healing, and restored my self-belief. In time, I graduated and found a steady job and started building a life I was proud of. Then I met my perfect fiancé, Mark, 27, male. He was kind and understanding, everything I had been missing. When I shared my family story with him, he did not judge or pity me. Instead, he said that family is not just about blood. I have the right to choose who I let into my life. With him, I felt truly loved and accepted. And for the first time, I began to think that I did not need my parents' approval to feel complete. As our wedding day neared, thoughts of my family returned. I had not seen them in 6 years, and part of me wanted to reach out, to give them a chance to make amends. But every time I thought about it, painful memories came rushing back. The rejection, the shame, the way they had discarded me without a second thought. Why should they be part of one of the happiest days of my life when they had not been there during my toughest times? Out of nowhere, I got a message from my dad. It was surprising to see his name pop up on my phone after so many years. The message was brief and straightforward. He told me that my mom was very ill and wanted to see me because she missed me. There was no apology or mention of the past, no acknowledgement of the hurt they caused. Just a vague note about my mom's sickness and her wish to reconnect. He also mentioned that he knew about my upcoming wedding and that both he and my mom wanted to be involved. It felt strange and heavy to know they suddenly wanted to reach out. Where was this concern when I was struggling to get by after they left me? They missed my graduation, my first job, and literally everything else in my life. Now, just because my mom is sick, they act like those 6 years did not matter, as if I would easily forgive and forget. It seemed so unfair. I might sound selfish, but this caught me by surprise, and I did not feel good about it. They were not there for the tough times, but now they wanted to be part of the good moments. A wave of emotions hit me. I thought about my mom being sick and felt guilty. And despite everything, she was still my mother, and the idea of her suffering was hard to deal with. I realized that her wish to see me was not just about the wedding. It might be about finding closure or making peace before it was too late. But forgiving them felt impossible. After all they had put me through, the abandonment, the disbelief, the struggles I faced alone, how could I let them back into my life as if nothing had happened? After the text, I received a few more texts from relatives I did not even know existed. They claimed that it was wrong of me to not include my parents in my wedding, and that whatever happened recently should not matter compared to everything they had done for me throughout my life. This really got on my nerves. It was hilarious how they showed up when I did not invite my parents to my wedding, but could not help me out when I was practically homeless. I spoke to my fiance about this, and he straight away asked me to ignore my relatives' texts because they are irrelevant. He has assured me that he will back whatever choice I make, but he also reminded me that my wedding day should focus on us being happy and us enjoying ourselves and not something from the past that hurts, and the unresolved feelings that came with it. He asked me to consider what would make me happy, in the long run as well, not just for now. I keep wondering, if I push them away now, am I only causing myself more pain? Or would allowing them back make things worse for me? I feel conflicted. I have worked hard to create a life without them, finding my way, building my life, and part of me wants to protect that myself, and is scared that letting them back in could ruin everything I have built. But another part feels guilty, especially with my mom's health being a concern. I cannot overlook that she is trying to reach out now, even if it feels like it's too late. I keep thinking that including them in the wedding might be a way to finally move on and leave the past behind. But then I remembered that they bailed on me based on just Bella's words, without any proof or anything. I do not know if I can just forget about the past 6 years. My wedding is in a few months, and I am really confused. Should I keep things the way they are, or should I let them back in? To be very honest, I'm not sure if I want them back in my life. So I need some opinions. AITA for refusing to let my parents back into my life after they believed my sister's lies and abandoned me. It has been a few weeks since I posted. I read a few comments, and I am relieved that most people think I am not being unreasonable here. Anyway, I still feel like I'm caught in a whirlwind. After receiving that message from my dad about my mom being sick and wanting to see me, I was really on edge. I thought about blocking their numbers, but I also worried I might regret not giving them a chance. Then, unexpectedly, my sister Bella reached out. Out of the blue, I got a text from her saying she heard I was getting married. She mentioned knowing about Mom being sick and wanting to fix things before it was too late. It felt like everything had changed in an instant. Bella, the one who had caused me so much pain, was now talking about family and healing. She expressed how much she missed me and emphasized the need for our family to come together. She said I had always been part of her life and that she wanted us to find peace. But all I could think about was her betrayal that had ruined everything. I was already unsettled by my dad's message, and Bella's text only added to my confusion. What did she expect from me? Did she really think I could just forgive her because of a few nice words? She did not apologize or acknowledge the problems she caused. Instead, she kept talking about how family was the most important thing, especially with Mom's health declining. It all felt insincere, like she was only reaching out now because of her own guilt. I could not help but wonder if there was another reason behind her message, something I was not seeing. She had been so cold and calculating when she lied about me, and I could not shake the feeling that this was more about her image than anything else. The thought of seeing Bella again after so many years felt like reopening an old wound. Still, the fact that my mom was sick made me feel something different. I felt bad for wanting to shut them out when there was a chance she wanted to make amends. But every time I thought about forgiving them, every single thing from the past came rushing back even stronger. I questioned if they would ever recognize the problems they caused for me. The idea of them at my wedding seemed almost ridiculous, as if they could just show up like proud parents after all this time. I kept thinking about my fiancé's advice to focus on my long-term happiness. My wedding should be a joyful occasion, not a source of stress. But how could I find peace while holding on to all this anger? Could I really move on if I never let them back into my life? I could not picture Bella sitting in the front row as if nothing had happened. It felt wrong to even think about including them after everything they had done. I chose to respond to Bella, but I kept it brief. I told her I needed time to think and was not sure how I felt about her or our parents attending the wedding. I mentioned that I was not sure about how I felt about them, given everything that has happened between us. I do not know why, but I hoped she would understand. But her reply was just another message about family, with no sign of regret or acknowledgement of her actions. She even had the nerve to say she understood my feelings, but hoped I would see the bigger picture and let the past go for Mom's sake. After her response, I felt more confused than ever. I thought taking time to reflect on my feelings would help, but it only made things tougher. Relatives I had not heard from in years started reaching out and telling me to let go of my anger and warning that I would regret it if I did not reconnect with my family soon. It seemed like they only knew part of the story and assumed I was being unreasonable. Their comments stung, but I realized they had no idea what I had been through. This only added to my confusion and frustration. A few days later, I received another message from my dad, giving me more information about Mom's health. He did not share many details, but it was clear she was not doing well. He mentioned that she had always loved me and wanted us to be a family again. It felt odd, as if he was trying to make me feel guilty instead of apologizing or recognizing my pain. I questioned whether he understood the effects of their actions. I spent many hours thinking about what I would say if I saw them again. I pictured telling them about the years of struggle, the nights of feeling utterly alone, and the betrayal I still carried. But deep down, I knew it would not change anything. They would likely find a way to justify their behavior or dismiss my feelings, saying I was being dramatic. Still, the thought of my mom being unwell weighed on me. Was I wrong to hold on to my anger when she might be facing something serious? My fiancé has been a great support, reminding me that my feelings are important and that I can set my own boundaries. He promised to stand by me, no matter what I chose. I feel fortunate to have someone who truly understands my pain and does not pressure me to forgive just to keep up appearances. He emphasized that the choice is mine, but I can feel the heaviness of it all. As the wedding approaches and the pressure is increasing, I am caught between wanting to let my parents and Bella back into my life for some peace and protecting myself from further hurt. My mom's illness complicates things even more. I worry that if I do not allow them back in now, I might regret it later. Yet, I also fear that opening the door could lead to more heartbreak. Bella's message keeps replaying in my mind, making me wonder if I'm being too harsh. But then I recall that she never showed any remorse or acknowledged the pain she caused. How can I move on when the past still feels so fresh? I'm left questioning whether forgiving them would truly help me heal or just reopen old wounds. My wedding should be a joyful occasion, but right now it is clouded by these unresolved emotions. I am at a point where I do not know if letting them back in would bring me closure or just more suffering. So here I am, still uncertain and still pondering, would allowing them back in my life be the right decision, or am I just setting myself up for disappointment? Hey, so it's been about 3 weeks since I last posted. A few days after the last update, I finally hit my limit and decided to visit my family. After weeks of putting it off, I could not ignore the fact that my mom was seriously ill. Part of me wanted to keep my distance, but I felt guilty and I knew I would regret not seeing her one last time if she did not get better. It was an hour-long drive over to their house, and during the drive, it was really hard to stay calm. But I kept telling myself I was doing this for my mom, not for my dad or Bella. But that did not make it any easier. I was scared to even see the house again. I mean, I had so many memories there. I spent all my life up until 6 years back in that house. I was forced to leave it, and now I felt almost forced to visit it again. When I arrived at the house, it felt strange. It had been so long, yet everything looked almost the same. To my surprise, my mom was the only one there, sitting in a chair by the window. I barely recognized her. My dad was not there yet, which was a bit of a relief, but I knew the confrontation was still coming. Seeing her so weak and tired broke my heart. She looked so small, and I just wanted to hug her and cry. I could only think of how much time was wasted. We could have spent so much time together if only Bella did not pull that stunt. I would not have been so shocked that Mom stayed if I had the chance to be by her side all these years. I would have been able to help her some way or the other, but that chance was taken away from me by my older sister. Mom looked happy and sad to see me. For the first time in as long as I can remember, I did not see my mom as the authoritative figure I always tried to impress. She was just a mom, simply a person who had made mistakes. She sincerely apologized. She was very straightforward about the fact that she regretted not reaching out to me. She said she had not reached out all these years because she felt ashamed. She said that by the time she realized that Bella lied, it was too late, and she thought I would never look back and forgive her. She also said that she had thought of reaching out to me multiple times. She wrote several letters that she never sent, and she apologized so many times. Hearing her express that made me feel weirdly sad, but also relieved. There was no talk of family obligations or expectations. No pressure to forgive her or forget about whatever had happened. Just her taking accountability for her mistakes and saying she was sorry. It was overwhelming to take in. Part of me wanted to shout and tell her how hard it was for me, but I could not. I just hugged her and told her it was all right. I really forgave her. It was like I was never mad at her. She was only left with regret, and I did not want to make it any worse. I just wanted to be by her side. My dad walked in, and the atmosphere changed immediately. He entered as if he was in control, acting like he had not done anything wrong. He did not apologize or acknowledge the pain they caused me. Instead, he treated my feelings like a petty issue, suggesting I should move on for the family. It seemed like he believed he was the victim because I had distanced myself for so long. He did not understand my mom's perspective at all. I tried to keep my cool, but anger kept rising inside me. When I expressed how hurt I was about everything that had happened and how I made ends meet in the last 6 years, he dismissed it by saying things like, "Oh, we thought we were doing what was best for the family." He refused to take any accountability for his actions and kept shifting the focus, making it seem like I was at fault for not contacting them over the years. I noticed my mom looked uneasy, but she stayed silent, maybe because she was tired of Dad, and our never-ending arguments, my dad continued to push, trying to make it seem like my choice to stay away was unjustified. It was infuriating, and I felt the familiar sense of powerlessness from my childhood, as if my voice did not count. I asked about Isabella and where she was, but they said she could not make it. It felt odd since she had reached out discussing family and forgiveness. Yet, when it was time to confront the situation, she was absent. Deep down, I was not really surprised. I figured she would stay away from any real conflict, even if she's the one who started everything. She had created this chaos and left everyone else to deal with it. After the visit, I felt exhausted instead of the calm I wanted. I sat quietly while my dad lectured me, thinking he could change my mind about forgiving them. However, I realized I did not need his approval and did not have to fit into a family that had let me go so easily. Before I left, my mom asked me to return soon. She sounded desperate and looked sad. I was not sure if I would come back, but I could not say goodbye forever. I hugged her and promised to keep in touch, asking her to reach out whenever she wanted or needed to. On the drive back to my house, I could not keep my mind straight. I felt conflicted. My mom's apology felt genuine and meant more to me than I thought, but my dad's attitude and Isabella's absence left me feeling bitter, bringing back the pain I had tried to forget. I wanted to forgive them and move on, but I did not know how to do it without losing my sanity. I forgave Mom. I have nothing against her anymore, but Dad and Bella, I'm not quite sure about them. My wedding is in a month, and I am unsure if I will invite them there or even keep them in my life. I'm sure I will stay in touch with Mom. I might invite her, but like I said, Dad and Bella, I'm not quite sure about them. Maybe it's better to move on without them, keeping a safe distance for my own peace of mind. It is tough, especially knowing my mom may not have much time left. I feel a mix of guilt, anger, and love, and I am still uncertain if I will ever find the closure I seek. I honestly do not really know what my next step will be. I will give an update if anything happens. Hey guys, it's been a long time since I gave an update. It has been 6 months and so many things have happened. I would have given an update sooner, but I just needed to process everything. Mark and I had a small private wedding. After everything with my family, we wanted a peaceful day focused on us. I decided to invite my mom and dad. My mom was very sick, and I knew I would regret it if she could not attend. It was easier to invite her because she had made an effort with me and we were okay. She acknowledged her mistakes, and I could understand that she truly wished things had been different. I chose not to invite Bella. It was not to hurt her. I just could not trust her not to create more drama. After the wedding, Bella texted me, upset about not being included. I told her I simply did not want her there, and then blocked her number. That felt like a relief, as if I had closed a painful chapter. Unfortunately, almost 2 months after the wedding, my mom passed away. She was not in pain. She passed away peacefully with both me and Dad by her side. I was grateful for the time I had with her, even if it was brief. In her last days, she seemed softer and more like the mom I remembered. Sometimes we would sit in silence and it felt comforting. I was able to say goodbye, and I will always appreciate that. My mom's funeral was one of the toughest days of my life. It was a simple gathering with just family and a few close friends. I wanted to honor her and celebrate her life. Bella was invited as well, but we thought she would not show up because she never even reached out to us after Mom's death. But on the day of the funeral, she burst in, demanding to know why she was not at the wedding, making everything about her. It turned chaotic. Her yelling drowned out the nice words being said about my mom. I felt embarrassed and hurt. Dad had reached his limit. He was already struggling with losing Mom. My parents were high school sweethearts. They had spent over 40 years together, and it was clearly the worst thing that had ever happened to him. And Bella's selfishness pushed him over the edge. He stood up and told her to leave. He said she was disrespecting Mom's memory and that he never wanted to see her again. The room was filled with tension. Everyone was stunned into silence, and I felt mixed emotions. Part of me was relieved that Dad finally confronted her, but I was also anxious about the consequences. Bella stormed out, complaining about how unfair it was, but I thought it was necessary to protect the day from her drama. It felt like a turning point for both my dad and me. Even though we were not close, we both agreed that Mom deserved better than a chaotic funeral. Strangely, this experience brought my dad and me a bit closer. Our relationship is not great, and there is still some tension, but we have managed to be civil. He has not apologized for his part in everything, but he is respecting my boundaries now, and he said he would like to have me in his life. We may not be close, but it is peaceful, and that is enough for now. Baby steps, I guess. Being in the position I am in right now feels weird. I once thought I needed a big moment of forgiveness, but now I see I just needed to let go. Losing my mom was hard, but it brought me closure. I can cherish the good memories of her and leave the rest behind. Regarding Bella, I do not intend to reconnect with her. I have realized that not everyone understands that problems they create can affect people, and that is fine. I do not need her in my life anymore. Now I'm concentrating on my life with Mark and building something positive with him. Lastly, I want to express my gratitude to everyone for their support during this tough time. Your kind words and understanding have meant so much to me. Sharing my story has been a relief, and knowing that people care has made a difference. I appreciate everyone who took the time to read my updates and share their thoughts. It truly helps to know I am not alone in this journey. Thank you for being there for me. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.